Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Tampa Bay Downs here on Saturday. It's the 7th of March, 2020. You're going to look at all the stakes races on the program here from Tampa on Derby Day. But before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5 for more selections for race courses around the world. And also check out my Super Saturday preview video from Maidan. And also check out my Gotham and Santa Anita handicap preview videos also. It's an excellent day of racing all across the world, so just make sure you follow my selections here on YouTube, and especially next Tuesday, by the way, it's the start of the Cheltenham Festival, and I'll have previews and selections for all those races also here on YouTube. But let's get to the stakes action from Tampa here on Tampa Derby Day. We're going to look at all the stakes races 7 through 11, so we have a lot of races to get to. The 7th race from Tampa, it's the Columbia Stakes, purse $75,000, race for 3-year-olds here. We have a field of 10 horses going to the turf course, distance of ground of 1,600 meters, or the 1-mile trip on the turf course. 1,600 meters, 1 mile turf course. The top selection here, I'm going to go with the number 1 horse, Doc Boy. I'm going to go 1675 in the superfecta. 1675 super, top selection, the 1 horse, Doc Boy. The 3-year-old colt by Into the Mischief. Michael Stidham trains 1. Joe Bravo gets the mounts. The horse's most recent outing came 6th of October at Keeneland, mile 16th in the Great Through Bourbon Stakes, and the horse didn't move that day. He finished 12th by 7 3/4 lengths, and he was just basically the last or second to last most race, and never had a good run. He should have improved that day. Before that, he ran the Laurel Futurity at Laurel Park, mile 16th, September the 21st, and he finished 3rd by 3/4 length. He sat back early, had a decent turn of foot late, but then he kind of got blocked late, which caused him to steady. But I've seen worse races, and then before then, the Kitten's Joy at Colonial, mile 16th on the inner. The horse went by 3/4 length. He sat back early in a small field after not the best beginnings, a little bit wide, but he got there early, and he quickened up nicely. That was a very good run. And then prior to that, Laurel 1 mile, main special weight 41,000. He won by 5. He sat back early, again, small field, quickened up nicely. It was a good run, even though he did have a little bit of trouble trip early on. He finds a way to get in trouble sometime, but coming to a 3-year-old campaign, 2-year-olds to 3-year-olds really improve a lot, especially these turf horses I've noticed. We'll probably get a good trip from closing up well. This turf course does play towards closers a bit, especially if you're going to see a good pace, which I think you will in this race. Joe Bravo, an excellent finisher on horses. Let's take a shot with this one. I also think the 6-horse Chapula, who I backed a few weeks ago on Sam F. Davis, has a strong chance. Javier Castellanos on this one. They tried the horse on dirt last time out, and he just wasn't handling it. He finished 7th by 29.5 lengths, first off the break, first start. He was with him early on, but hit the wall. Throw the race out. His form, just looking over it now, his form's a lot better on turf or even the synthetic. 2 back on the synthetic, at Woodbine, mile 16th in the Grade 3 Gray Stakes. He won by a half length on the front and all throughout. He was drifting a little bit, but, Patrick Husband, who rode the horse that day, didn't have to use the whip late. It was a hand ride, and it was a very easy victory. Could have probably won by more. And then before that, Keeneland 1 mile, main special weight 71,000. He won by 3.5 lengths there, and he had a horrible trip that day. Again, he was drifting a little bit late, but he still got the job done. He's been training well. Back to turf, I give him a strong chance. There's all stakes pick 5 begins with this race. I would go 2 deep here. But to recap my selection for the 7th from Tampa, it's the Columbia Stakes. Let's take the 1 horse, Doc Boy. We'll go 1675 in the superfecta, 1-6 in the multi-race. Let's get to the 8th. Race number 8 from Tampa, it's the Challenger Stakes, Grade 3, purse $100,000, race for 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 8 horses going to the main track, the distance of ground of 1,700 meters, or the distance of ground of 1 mile and 1/16th on the main track. 1,700 meters, a mile 1/16th, main track here on the Challenger. And I show the diagram, just gives me a second to look down my notes, just bear with me. And something weird I've noticed, I don't know if it's just me at 5 a.m. thinking about this, but there are 2 races on today's program at Tampa Bay that are named after... They're not named, of course, I hope not, at least, but they're 2 races named after, that have similar names to the space shuttle disasters. I think a lot of people remember watching Space Shuttle Challenger blowing up, 72 seconds or 73 seconds after takeoff, and the other race is the Columbia, which was a disaster in about 2003, February 2003, so I know it's not on purpose, but it's just very ironic that there are 2 races on the program that are named after space shuttle disasters. factors. But back to my top selection here. I should stop thinking at 4:30 in the morning, and I should really go to sleep by now. But top selection here, I'm going to go with the number 5 horse, King for a Day. We'll go 5-4-7-1 in the superfecta. 5-4-7-1 super. Top selection, the 5 horse, King for a Day. 4-year-old colt by Uncle Mo. Top electric trains. John Velasquez gets them out for Red Oak Stable, which is actually Hialeah's owner, John Brunetti. I think the son now owns it. That's his stable, so it has some Hialeah roots to this horse. But the horse is most recent out. He hasn't started since the 20th of July. That came at Monmouth, mile and 8th in the Haskell Invitational, and he finished 5th by 12 1/4 lengths. We all know Haskell Day this year, where it was 105 degrees heat index to like 125. It was a disgusting day, and of course I was out all afternoon that day in the sun. Don't ask about it. But that day, so the race was supposed to go off at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It didn't go. It went off at like 8:45 at night when it got significantly cooler. Can't say that word. But a lot of horses had to wait. I think a lot of the horses just didn't fire that day. Like this one, he was with him early on, but he just hit the wall late. His wheels were spinning. It was just a weird run. I would throw that race out. He's coming here fresh off a break. He's been training very well at the Pletra base at Palm Beach. I'm going to give him a shot. 2 back in the Pegasus at Monmouth, mile 16th, June the 16th. He won by a length that day, and he stalked. Maximum Security looked like he was going to, go away with it. But this horse, fought a good race and beat him. That was a very good run. That was the last time Maximum Security lost. And then before then, the Sir Barton at Pimlico, mile 16th, he won by 2.5 lengths. He stalked, he got the lead, and then he took off clear. And again, he didn't break all that well there, but he still got the job done off a break. He's done, basically, his worst race lifetime was the Haskell, and of course, his first race, he lost, but look at who won it. Complexity's a good horse, won next out. I believe he won the, I want to say he won the Champagne next out, but Harvey Wallbanger finished second, went on to win the Holy Bull in 2019, and King for a Day went on to win the Sir Barton. I know lesser quality races, but he in his debut at Saratoga, he got beat by good horses, but I like him a lot here at the break. 2-1's not the best price, so we'll have to take it. I also think the 4 horse Prompt at 8-1 could possibly get a piece fit, sitting closer here, but he hasn't been seen since May of 2019. That came at Belmont, mile 8th and off 6-2, where he won by 2 lengths. He stalked, he got the lead, quickened up nicely. That was a very good run. Before that, at Aqueduct last March, he won Go mile 8th very nicely. If there's going to be a horse coming from a little bit behind, I think it could be him. 8-1. We'll use him on the ticket. Since he's come to dirt, he's been really, jumping. The buyer numbers really jumped up to the mid to high 80s. So, he likes running here. If he can run off the break, which I think he can, I expect him to run a good race. 8-1. Like I said, use him on the multis. But to recap my selection for the 8th from Tampa, it's grade 3 Challenger. Let's take the 5 horse King for a Day. I'm going to go 5-4-7-1 in the superfecta, 5-4 in the multi-race. Let's get to the 9th. Race number 9 from Tampa, it's the Hillsborough Stakes. Grade 2, purse $225,000. Race for fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 12 horses going to the turf course, a distance of ground of 1,800 meters, or the distance of ground of 1 mile and 1/8 on the turf course. 1,800 meters, mile and 1/8 turf course. I believe this year is the first time this race will be a grade 2. I believe it was a grade 3 the last few seasons, but I could be mistaken. But it wouldn't surprise me in the next few years if you see this race possibly go to a grade 1, which would be kind of cool. I don't think there are any grade 1s at this meeting, and for this race, this looks like your likeliest candidate to go to a grade 1. With that being said, my top selection here, I'm going to take the 3-horse Magic Star. We'll go 3-7-5-8 in the superfecta, 3-7-5-8 super. Top selection, 3-horse Magic Star. This 4-year-old filly by Scat Daddy. Chad Brown trains this one. John Velasquez gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came the 8th of February, Gulfstream, mile 8th, in the grade 3 Shawnee River, and the horse finished second by 4.5 lengths. Starship Jubilee had everything her own way. She had a dream trip. She quickened up nicely. And this horse, she ran a terrific race. This horse, though, had a horrible trip. She wanted to go out, and when she did, it was just a little bit too late. What can you do? But it was a horrible trip. Before then, the Marshall River at Gulfstream Park, mile 16th, the 11th of January. The horse won by a half length, and she sat back early, a little bit wide, but that turn of foot was magical that day, and she got the job done. 9-3 Buyer, good run. And then before that, first time facing winners at Belmont, mile 16th on the wider in late October. She finished 6th by 3.25 lengths there, and she moved a little bit that day, but it wasn't anything spectacular. She could have really improved a lot more. And then her debut at Saratoga, mile 16th on the inner and the main special weight, she won by 2.5 lengths. That inner turf course doesn't play towards closures, but this horse had a little bit of trouble trip and a little traffic, but when she got through, that turn of foot was, again, that's where I should really say the word magical, because that was a very good run that day. She's been training well. If she gets a better trip, she'll most likely get a better trip than she did last time out of the Shawnee River. 4-1, I'm going to bet her. Again, multi-race scenario, 7-horse Starship Jubilee, who's done nothing wrong recently. You have to use her also in her Tampa debut. And I also think, the 5-horse, Kelsey's Cross for Patrick being Cone. This horse, some of the form last year wasn't so bad. I'm going to use this horse at 21 also in the multi-race, maybe to catch a price, but to recap my selections now for the 9th from Tampa, it's Grace 2 Hillsborough. Gonna take the 3-horse Magic Star. We'll go 3, 7, 5, 8 in the superfecta, 3, 7, 5 in the multi-race. Let's get to race number 10 now. Race number 10 from Tampa, it's the Florida Oaks Grade 3 purse $200,000 race for fillies 3-year-olds here. We have a field of 12 horses heading to the lawn, the distance of ground of 1,600 meters, or the distance of ground of 1 mile and 1/16 on the turf course. 1,700 meters, 1 mile 1/16 here in Hillsborough, the Florida Oaks. Wrong race. Top selection, I'm going to go with the number 8 horse who is Outburst. I'll go 8-3-6-10 in the superfecta, 8-3-6-10 super. Top selection, 8 horse Outburst. 3-year-old filly by Outstrip. Eddie Keneally trains when Javier Castellano gets the mount. The horse is most recent out again 7th of February at Tampa on a good turf course, 1 mile means an optional 75 claimer, and the horse did everything right. From Y Postra, he sat back early, quickened up nicely, winning by 3/4 length. That was a very good North America debut. Prior to that, was running in France and ran on the 7th of October at Toulouse, firm ground, which is very rare for every race I've seen. It seems I watched from Toulouse, and the last year it seems like it's always on heavy ground, which is basically soggy, waterlogged turf course, like a piece of wet white bread soaked in water for 3 days. But back to Toulouse, he ran on firm ground there, 6 furlongs in the main race. He won by 3/4 length there, and basically on the front end all throughout, quickened up nicely. There was nothing bad about that run. And then before that, Monte Marsan on firm ground, 7 furlongs in the main race, finished second by 2.5 lengths. The winner just quickened up better. This horse was closing up well, but it was just a little bit too late. But his North America race debut was very good. He's been training very well, probably get a good trip. Like I said, this turf course can play towards closers. I like the horse being a little bit wider here today. Javier Castellano up. I'm giving this horse a strong chance on that multi-race. I think you're going to have to go too deep in this race. I also think your next likeliest winner is a 3-horse Secure Connection. Shug McGahee trains his 3-year-old filly by Data Link. The horse's most recent outing, first off the break, came the 9th of January, Gulfstream, mile 16th and optional 50, and the horse finished third by 1/2 lengths. Had a horrible trip that they moved a little bit late, but the trip was horrible there first off the break. He'll probably, jump a few more buyer points with a better trip and second off the break. 2 back, the horse ran at Delaware, 7.5 in the main special weight, 51,000, and the horse won by 2 that day, 70 cents to the dollar, sat back early, mid-pack, got a great turn of foot, and got the job done. It was a very good, easy run, facing, we have to be honest, significantly less competition. Can't say that word today for some reason. And then before that, the horse ran a Colonial 1 mile in the inner and main special weight 53,000. The horse finished 4th by 2.25 lengths. The inner turf course at times at Colonial was playing towards speed. This horse set the pace that day, but he kind of got caught by the closers there. But I've seen worse runs. He's been training nicely. Probably get a better trip than he did at Gulfstream last time out. I'm going to give this horse a shot at 15-1 on the multi-race. But to recap my selection now for the 10th from Tampa, it's the Grade 3 Florida Oaks. Let's take the 8 horse Outburst. We'll go 8-3-6-10 in the superfecta, 8-3 in the multi-race. Let's get to the big 11th race from Tampa. Race number 11 from Tampa, it's the Tampa Bay Derby, Grade 2 purse $400,000 race for 3-year-olds here. A dozen 3-year-olds are lining up to go the distance of ground to 1,700 meters, or the distance of ground of 1 mile and 1/16 on the main track. 1,700 meters, 1 mile 1/16 here in the Tampa Derby. The top selection, I think it's a very interesting race. I'm going to take the 2 horse Spa City as a top selection. We'll go 2-5-8-4 in the superfecta, 2-5-8-4 super. Top selection is a 2 horse Spa City, 3-year-old colt by Street Sense. Kieran McLaughlin trains his homebred Godolphin horse. The horse's most recent outing came the 8th of February at Gulfstream Park, mile and the 8th in the main special weight 43,000, and the horse won by length, was drawn wide. He left early, got second off the gate, stalked all the way around the race course. When the horse got the lead in the top lane, he just kept going. That was a very good run there. I wish we would see more of those mile and 8th races at Gulfstream Park. Years ago, you used to see them all the time for 3-year-olds. Lately, recently, but in the last few years you haven't been seeing them. But I've noticed this meeting so far at Gulfstream Park in the last few months, you've been seeing a little bit more of these mile and eighth races. So hopefully, like I said, you'll see more of them in the future. But before that, the horse ran the 11th of January at Gulfstream, 1 mile main special weight 43,000, and he finished second by 6 lengths. He didn't have the best beginnings that day. He closed up well for second, but the winner Kakaro just ran that battle race. And then Gulfstream in late December, 6 furlongs main special weight 40,000. He finished fifth by 1/4 lengths. And again, he sat back early, a little bit of turn of foot, but it wasn't anything spectacular. With every single race he's got better. I think he'll get a good trip here from the inside. And if there's going to be a closer to win, I think it could be him. 10-1, let's use him. The 5-horse market analysis could also get a good run, I think. 3-0 Colt by Honor Code. Tom Pletcher trains 1. Johnny V gets the mount. There's no other classic combination like John Velasquez and Tom Pletcher. But the horse's most recent outings only started once. That came at Gulfstream on the 25th of January. 7 furlongs in the main special weight, where he won by 3/4 length. And he stalked early on, a little bit wide. When he quickened up, That was a very good run. His workout patterns haven't been half bad. I like the pedigree here with the Honor Code and exchange rate. 8-1, I give this horse a strong chance also. The pedigree, if you look at the owners also, Windstar and China Horse Club, they're real deal owners. They won a Triple Crown a few years ago. But Tom Pletcher's had success sending horses over to Tampa. He has won the Tampa Derby in the past, but I don't think a lot of them have been with second starters or second-time starters. But like I said, the horse has been training well. He's bred to get the mile 16th. He'll sit closer. 8-1, I'm going to give him a shot also. But to recap my selection for the 11th now from Tampa, it's the Grade 2 Tampa Derby. Let's take the 2-horse Spa City as a top selection. We'll go 2, 5, 8, 4 in the superfecta, 2, 5 in the multi-race to end it off. So good luck to all. Please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5. Good luck, everybody.